Sadistic Penguin Studios presents It's Getting Drafty in Here.
Drafty old barn.
The show of drafting random nonsense.
I choose business ethics.
And now, coming to you from his basement, a.k.a. Draft Headquarters, your host and draft master, Magnificent Stan.
Hello, welcome to episode 35 of It's Getting Drafty in Here. I am your host, Magnificent Stan. Today is Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. And today we're going to be doing a topic that I've actually had on my list since the very inception of the show. So today we're going to be drafting the worst transactions in the history of Chicago sports. We do have 4 categories: trade, draft pick, free agent signing, as well as a front office or coaching hire. Joining me today, first we have from the Pinwheels Ivy, our guy, Father Zoe, Matt Zawoski. What's going on, pal?
What's up, dude? You didn't have that dope-ass theme song last time I was on here. I was vibing out to that shit, man. That was awesome.
You were on the second episode, and I was still using Apple Notes for my draft board and everything. So
yeah, dude, that was putting me in a vibe, dude. That's awesome. I know the light's bright. Hold on, just give me a minute. But yeah.
Good. Right on. Also joining us from the all sports scene on for his 318th appearance is our buddy Sam Reeves. What's going on, Sam?
Not much. It's we got some big names on here, and still everybody's here to see me, so that's cool.
We got the heavy hitters, but you are the heaviest of all.
Yeah, it's cool to be a headliner and a bunch of stars. So,
And finally, also joining us, Herb Lawrence from CHGO. Should I just say CHGO or CHGO White Sox?
Either works. They can find us either way. But thank you for having me on, guys. It's always a pleasure to be with the 3 of you other people, because I'm having a good time already. Because as the kids say, I'm V high.
Fuck yeah.
So tonight is episode 35. Should we call this the Frank Thomas episode or the Neil Anderson episode?
Frank. If it was the Neil Anderson one, we'd all have to have oversized mouthpieces.
All right. Well, Zoe, you have won the draft lottery, so you have the first selection.
Rigged.
Super rigged. I told the boys when we were warming up that I was going straight chalk on this first pick. I feel like a lot of people know that I'm a baseball guy, and this should be no surprise, but I'm going trade, and it is when the Chicago White Sox decided to trade a very young Fernando Tatis Jr. to the San Diego Padres for James Shields. But, I mean, people forget we got Eric Johnson in that deal. But I know...
We traded Eric Johnson in that deal, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But I know what people are going to say. Oh, well, if they didn't make that deal, then this wouldn't happen. Well, guess what, folks? The White Sox suck ass. So maybe if they don't make that trade, a lot of shitty things don't happen in fallout of that. And I know Fernando Tatis likes his motorcycles, likes his muscle juice and all that fun stuff. But who knows if that would have happened in Chicago? We don't know. We're not on Marvel What If here. We don't know what's going to happen, but we do know that he's a hell of a baseball player, that he can hit the shit out of the ball, that he can play shortstop and right field. What positions do the White Sox need right now?
Good call.
Fast as hell, aggressive base runner, would fix so many things. And if they don't make that trade and he comes up through the ranks and is who he is, they don't go out and make a lot of the trades that they made after that deal. So it is a domino effect in a very negative way because, again, the White Sox suck. I can't push that enough. So I am going chalk. I'm going the Tatis Jr. James Shields deal.
It's a good choice. There's a few people that I've talked to. Well, I've talked to a lot of people about this episode, and yeah, I mean that's like the first one they talk about. Jury's still out on Tatis. I mean, obviously Shields didn't add a ton for us. Reliable arm that was mediocre for a couple bad teams, but yeah.
I didn't have this one on my list,
Good.
mostly because how many innings has Tatis Jr. thrown?
See,
James Shields 8 innings for so many years. He was, so worth it, man. Tatis can't pitch like that. So,
what do you think the
pitching's always
chain of
important.
events would have happened if we knew what we had in Tatis Jr.? Do you think they would have spent more money on like a Harper or I don't think they would have.
No,
I don't even think they would have spent the Grandal move money at that point. They'd have
They
been like, oh,
still would have traded him.
Yeah, I mean, let's call it what it is. They would have figured out some way to screw it up, but they would have had the franchise player that they're so desperately seeking for that Luis Robert could be. But imagine a team with Luis Robert and Tatis.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually working for the Padres radio station at the time. So the start before James Shields left the Padres is the one he gave up 10 runs to. And then the owner pretty much said he's like a useless and he was terrible and he sucked. And then the White Sox traded for him.
Checks out.
Of the White Sox getting rid of Eric Johnson. I was like, baby, addition by subtraction. And then Tatis, like you said, he took the ringworm stuff and got a little bit better with the Padres than he would have been with the White Sox. But that's a terrible trade because Big Game James didn't do a damn thing for the White Sox.
no, and he was very mediocre when they traded for him. He was already starting to regress. That's the even funnier part of the whole thing is he it wasn't like they traded for a guy like, oh, we know he's an all-star arm. He wasn't an all-star arm anymore. He was He was okay. He was like a number 4 or number 5, but it was kind of like when we traded for PV. PV was solid, but he was better than Shields, but wasn't the superstar pitcher that he was previous. So
once an all-star, always an all-star.
Once again, I know people are going to say, oh, he was just a kid. They didn't even have him on the real diamonds. He was playing off in like the minor spring training diamond, like in the back of the facility. And all. I get all that. But everything we're talking about right now is in retrospect. And in retrospect, that's a terrible fucking trade.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't think time will ever ever mend that one unless Tatis, doesn't.
He already got in a motorcycle accident, got popped for roids, and I still say this is a terrible deal.
He was good. He was good this season too. He was pretty damn awesome in right field too. Like he's amazing. He's a legit stud in right field as well. So, but yeah, there's a perfect pick here though.
Yep, had to go chalk.
Yeah, it's gonna be a depressing night, isn't it, guys?
Well, I'm having fun already.
Yeah, I know my.
Me too.
My free agent signing one will be very depressing. Trigger warning early, guys.
All right, let's move on to number 2 here. Sam, what do we got?
I'm going coach, and I didn't. This kind of happened on accident. But his name came up in all caps when I put it in my notes, and that's Mark Trestman.
Mark Trestman.
That was my 1-1 for coaches.
I typed out Trestman in my notes app, and it came up all caps like I was yelling, and I was like, "That's how I feel."
Oh, Mark Trestman.
So
do you think he snowed the front office into believing he was actually legitimate, or do you just think the front office was so inept that they're like, "This guy's great in Canada, let's bring him back"?
Yeah, I think he tried to
Rich give him Canada star.
He made the Canada conversion rate all confusing for the Bears front office, so they didn't know what to do. He's like, 1 Canadian title is 6 Super Bowls in the NFL.
It's 3rd and 2 meters.
Oh my god, the guys just eating each other alive in practices and just all the things that he would come out and say after a 56-3 loss.
Yeah, he was always so upbeat and smiley.
Oh my god.
The thing that makes it worse is who they had on the platter instead of Mark that year. He was literally in a hotel down the street, and he said he got the call at 3 a.m. saying, "Hey, we're going to go with Mark." And for those, it's Bruce Arians, who went on to have a pretty decent career.
Bruce Arians didn't know how to do a press conference. That's important.
He just know how to win Super Bowls.
Oh God, so bad.
As good thing we know is that George McCaskey takes press conferences very Seriously.
Very seriously. You win that press conference, baby.
This is one of the best picks because he was so bad, he got his general manager fired.
Mm-hmm.
That's like his general manager was on the job for 3 years, and he was like, "Oh my God, you're terrible. That man has to go. If anybody would vouch for you as a coach."
And I don't think he ever got a job in the NFL again.
Tressman?
Never a head coaching job.
Phil Emery.
No, yeah, Emery. No, Tressman was an
yeah.
OC for Baltimore for a couple of years.
Yeah,
at
I
first,
remember
But then he
that.
went back to Canada. I think he's still in Canada.
I think he's on the USFL league now or some shit.
So this could have just been me, but Tressman always gave me like the King of the Rats and like Batman type vibes, with the slick back hair and the no upper lip and like the skinny glasses. He looked like a comic book villain.
You just know there's bodies in that dude's crawl space.
Yeah, or like he could just whistle like a weird whistle and like a bunch of rodents would come out and attack. Like he creeped me out the entire time. I was always
like Snow White with the birds, but he's got the rats.
Just constantly uncomfortable.
So when I was making my cheat sheet list for today, I the biggest thing about Tressman wasn't that he was just horribly inept at his job or just wasn't able to keep up with the schemes of the NFL compared to what he was dealing with in Canada or whatever. It was the fact that he took over a team that was actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Because the year before when they fired Lovey after 10-6, they were on the up and up. They were looking pretty good, and
they wanted an offensive mind.
Right. They were like, "Oh, we want to get Jay Cutler," and then they bring this fucking guy in. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. No, this is a perfect. He was number one on my list as well. So,
oh my God, it's just
there's so many.
Tressman definitely has shorts made out of human skin.
Like it was probably the Bears' punishment for firing Lovie Smith. The man had went 18 games over 500, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna try to reinvent football by hiring a Canadian coach." Oh my God! Looking back, it is the dumbest thing in the world. They play a different fucking sport up there.
Oh my God!
Literally.
Well, and I don't mention Rich Gannon, but that was the whole thing. Is that was what they thought he was going to do, was turn Jay Cutler into an MVP candidate, which is what happened with Rich Gannon when he was the OC in for the Raiders. But yeah, you know, love it.
And
hell yeah,
and then
memory lane.
The sugar on top is just Bruce Arians being like, "Oh yeah, I was in the hotel and they called me at 3 a.m. We're like, we're going with Mark."
Mm-hmm.
And it's ironic that they shut Arians down because of the press conference stuff, and then they hire Eberflus. Who's like the most inept press conference in the history of Chicago sports. It's like the anti-Lee Elia.
This is just gonna make me mad. This whole show is gonna make me mad.
Yeah, we're just gonna get pissed off over and over again. We should have
so
just started drinking, man.
This is what we were built on, baby.
This is why Chicagoans are tough.
I hope no one had I have two for trades. I'm just going to mention the first one because the audio of him getting traded off the team is so great. But that's the Alexander Kapatsev trade.
I think you're safe there.
That was just good because I love Pat Foley's reaction to him getting traded away from the Blackhawks. If you haven't heard it before, put a note, mark it down, listen to Pat Foley just chewing out Alexander Kapatsev on his last game versus the Blackhawks. It's a great one. But the worst trade for me in history of Chicago Bears is the Rick Meyer trade.
Damn, dude, you stole my first round pick.
Yep.
I don't know if people who are, that's an old trade. So I don't know if people realize that this player, who was a Notre Dame player, pretty good at Notre Dame as a quarterback, got drafted by the Seahawks, went out there and was mediocre, was kind of good his second year.
Mediocre. He was bad.
And then he was really bad his third year. He was like 5 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. And the goddamn Bears traded a first-round pick.
Yep.
A first-round pick for Rick fucking Meyer. A first-round pick for a quarterback that had 5 touchdowns and 11 interceptions.
And it wasn't just the first round pick, it was the 11th overall.
Yeah. And so Rick Meyer, played 3 goddamn games for the Bears. Well, he started 3 games for the Bears. He sucked.
Yep.
He played in 7. Like his passer rating was like 33.
Yep.
He was one of the worst. He
had-
did not throw a touchdown pass.
Right. He had
for
0
the Chicago
touchdowns and
Bears.
he threw 6 interceptions.
It is the worst trade I've ever seen in my life. And he was pretty much released after the year. Like the Bears also had to give him money. I forgot to put that part. They gave him an extension, and then they had to release him pretty much.
Yeah, 97. It was like $17 million and 97 money. That's a lot. That's a lot in football.
And he never played for the Bears after that 1 year.
Yeah.
It is just a abysmal trade.
So just for basis of comparison, I did a little bit of digging on that draft, and so they had the 11th overall pick, and players that were drafted in after the 11th in that draft: Tony Gonzalez, Warwick Dunn,
Decent.
Kennard Lang, Tiki Barber, Corey Dillon, Jake Plummer.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, we did get Darnell Autry in that trade though, so you know.
Oh yes, I forgot the 4th round pick.
Northwestern's finest, baby.
Northwestern's finest. That's right.
Yeah, they could have drafted Tony Gonzalez.
Yep.
Yeah, he was decent.
Then trade it for Rick fucking Meyer, like he was good or something.
One of the best tight ends in the history of football.
Yeah.
I'm not mad.
You're mad. Sucked here, but you know it'd been a little bit better than Rick Meyer.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been a superstar here. No, I'm kidding. He probably would have. He was great.
I think that's the thing though. When we talk about all of these, is I am so beat down as a Chicago sports fan that everything we're talking about, I'm like, oh, he would have sucked here anyways. The Bears would have ruined him. White Sox would have ruined him. It would have been terrible. Mm-hmm. It's just it's so depressing that's where my head is.
That's a good point.
Chris Chandler.
Yeah, it would have been what Chris Chandler, and then
is that Rick Miller?
Cordell Stewart? No.
Yeah. Cordell was like 99, 98.
Oh, was that too late?
No.
He was terrible too.
Yeah, Cordell Stewart was real bad.
Hella bad.
You could just do a whole show on Bears quarterbacks.
It's just so depressing. And these fucking
we should do a draft.
One.
Draft your own Bears team, but you have to pick the worst players imaginable.
That'd be tough. That's actually a tough one.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad Bears teams.
There's a lot of bad that
Shane
you can
Matthews,
pick from.
That's who it was.
Yeah, Shane Matthews. Sugar Shane, as the ladies call him.
He was all right, man.
This is a good one from Jumper. If Rick Meyer can get you a first rounder, by that logic, Fields gets you 2 and an all pro. or if you go by that dude from that Raiders podcast, I don't know if you've seen that going around.
You gotta give Fields 2 first rounders and whatever.
Max Crosby for Justin Fields and 3 first round picks, 2 first round picks in his second.
Wait, that's real?
Yeah,
that's a real thing.
Yeah, it was a real podcast, a Raiders podcast. It was the 9th pick.
Good. Real good.
Justin
jokes.
Fields, 2025 first and like a 26 second or something like that.
You're gonna have to
give Max Crosby.
All that for Max Crosby. Yep, for defensive end.
Ooh, that boy. God. I want to know what he's drinking.
I'm about to say some good shit out in Vegas.
Yeah,
the best.
I get it. I thought that was a joke. Someone just sent it to me. I thought that was a joke.
It's a
I wrote it in.
It's a legitimate
The Raiders
podcast.
made a very funny joke today.
Yep.
God damn it.
Doug Flutie. There's another draft pick that didn't really pan out.
Flutie Flakes, man. How many cereals does James Shields have?
My sister's fantasy football team for like 10 years was called the Flutie Flakes. All right, I'm gonna go here. Since we already got a couple of the trades out of the way, I'm gonna do trade as well. In 1992, the White Sox decided they needed a better DH.
Mm-hmm.
So they went ahead and traded a very, very young right fielder named Sammy Sosa to the Chicago Cubs for George Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Sammy Sosa went on to hit 545 home runs for the Cubs and have a 58.8 B-WAR. George Bell played about a year and a half. He ended up losing his job to Bo Jackson that second year as the DH.
Too, though.
He hit 38 homers in 2 years. He had a 670 OPS and a negative 2.7 B-WAR.
But did he have a good baseball chin?
He did have a good baseball chin.
That's
he
all
also
that matters.
the first year on the team, I don't know, it was just because of like hardcore opportunity of like Frank Thomas and Ventura getting on base like crazy. But he had 112 RBIs his first season in a Sox uniform. But his OPS was like 700 or 695 or something like that. So So yeah, I kind of feel obligated to take that one. That's a good bad Chicago trade. So there's been a couple of those over the years, but I'm gonna go Sosa.
But I mean, it doesn't really matter because is Sammy Sosa a Hall of Famer?
Do we want to have that conversation?
Don't mean nothing without that plaque. You put up all the numbers in the world, but you got to get that plaque, Barry Bonds.
Oh God. My favorite Sammy Sosa moment is when he's sitting in front of Congress and all of a sudden he forgot how to speak English. That was my favorite.
I liked how he turned pink. When he's got the pink hat on and a pink suit and he just looks like a bottle of Pepto-Bismol. That's Sammy's an odd guy, but he hits the ball very far, very, very far.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very far.
Roxy's reminding us that wins above replacement is racist.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is.
I've heard that.
Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Sammy Sosa was just a terror, and most Cub fans don't remember him. It's weird.
It is weird.
Even though he built that ballpark.
Yeah, man. I remember going to Cubs games before Sosa was there, and once he got there, the stands were very, very full at that point. Yuppie. It was yuppie hell after that. But all right. Yeah, I got another pick here. I'm gonna go free agent signing. I know you guys see me wearing a Bulls uniform.
That's ableist. I'm blind.
It is number 2. Who's our buddy? Lonzo Ball. Signed a 4-year, $80 million deal. He has played in, let's see here. He has played 35 games.
Yeah, but how good were they in those 35 games?
I liked what I saw.
Very good.
I liked what I saw. He was making $2 million a game, basically.
Didn't they say he could start running again?
Yep. They said that like 3 years ago, and they said that 2 years ago, and they said that a year ago. Then they just said it again.
Fair enough.
I don't anticipate him playing again, or if he does play again, he'll be like one of those guys who plays like 12 minutes a game. Obviously his knee was just decimated. That team was built for him too. I feel like, without him,
man.
Yeah, I wouldn't even say that they were getting used to each other at that point when he got hurt.
That's fair.
He was a catalyst for the offense, and he on defense. I mean, that guy was playing power forward, and he could do it. Him and Caruso guarding the perimeter and Patrick Williams as he was coming up. Those three on the perimeter, they nobody would have been able to shoot. But
Cookies,
now,
maybe.
Yeah.
Cookies all over the place.
It's terrible. It's terrible. And I know this isn't like, you can't call it a bad signing, but I mean,
unfortunate signing.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate signing. That was on my list, Jumper, for sure.
Robbery.
Damn knees.
But
damn knees.
Mm-hmm. Why do we even have knees, man?
But according to his dad, he's going to be fine. He's going to be an MVP still. So,
well, he still thinks the middle one's going to go to NBA. So,
Jello?
Was that the one that was stealing in Europe?
Yeah, he stole sunglasses.
Yeah, I remember.
They flex on Instagram how rich they are, and then he steals $100 pair of sunglasses. That makes sense.
LaMelo hasn't really gotten better.
Well, he's also been injured. He's been
injured a lot too. He's really good, but he really hasn't. I thought they thought he was gonna keep getting better and better and better, and he really, I don't know.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Did LaMelo get in trouble this year because he had his brand tattooed on his face?
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They told him it's fine. Yeah, they backed off on it.
He had to put like bandages on it to block it.
Gotta respect the hustle, dude. This is branding 101, baby. I'm gonna tattoo my brand on my face. It's better than any billboard.
It is. Definitely.
I like it. I don't follow the NBA as much as I should.
It's fun. It's fast. Nobody plays defense anymore.
Well,
everybody shoots ungodly percentages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jackie, you don't know how accurate that comment was about the niece.
Watch both guys. It's very true. It's very true.
It's a super fair comment.
I'm in my prime. Damn it.
Yeah.
So just bets the NBA.
That is also true. I got a guy for that. I don't watch it. I just bet it.
We don't watch it. We bet it, baby.
Or I bet the late games, so when Little Zoe goes to sleep, I can watch it.
I've been betting football. I need to stop. I never win.
I had a very Jekyll and Hyde weekend this last weekend. We'll just leave it at that.
Rather up and down.
Mm-hmm.
I would have won a lot of money if Tyreek Hill would have scored another touchdown the other day. But all right, Herb, you ready for your round 2 here, bud?
I am. I'm going to go with the worst draft pick. And this is why I asked you guys if I can do a draft pick that was traded on draft night. For me, when you draft LaMarcus Aldridge, the second overall.
Exactly what I thought you were going to do.
Damn you.
You want to keep him. He was a pretty good player at Texas, but instead you draft, or Portland drafts,
really good call,
Tyrese Thomas, and you decide to swap players.
That's a really
motherfucker.
Good one.
It is so terrible to think back about, because LaMarcus Aldridge, whatever you think about him, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer after a certain amount of time.
He was the best player in that draft.
Yeah,
he was so good.
He was the best guy around.
Just awesome player. And Tyrese Thomas, think of a highlight. Think of one highlight he has. I guarantee you it's that Derrick Rose dunk over Dragic. That's it. That's the only highlight he has. Because his rookie year, he went to the slam dunk contest. I don't know if you guys remember this, versus Gerald Green, Nate Robinson, and Dwight Howard. And he embarrassed us on national stage with 3 missed dunks with Ben Gordon throwing him alley-oops on the ground. Like, he embarrassed us in front of company, in front of those real-ass dunkers. He went out there and
why
thought
would
he had
you
the
have Ben
athleticism.
Gordon passing for you? Ben Gordon never passed a minute in his life.
Right, exactly. And so it's like, I don't know why John Paxson still has a job with the Bulls.
Oh, God, don't get me started.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he still does.
Like, I might be messing up, and he might have not been the GM on them by then, but I think he was.
Yeah, he was.
So, like, this is just mind-blowing that he still has a job, but we all know fucking old man in White Sox keeps people around way too damn long. So this is my worst trade in Chicago sports history, or worst draft pick.
Draft pick. Okay.
That's / trade.
Yeah, no, that works. Yeah, that's a good one. I
had that on my list.
That was one of those we were talking in the pre-show, and I mentioned how like going back down like early 2000s to 2010, basically Bulls memory lane. It's like it's a lot to deal with, man. Like I was huge into the Bulls, and I'm not anymore because of Paxson, pretty much. And I mean I still watch, but yeah, I mean there were so many terrible moments that I didn't want to bring back up, but this this fucking podcast made me.
I think I blocked that trade out of my head for a long time. We're just taking off band-aids here. We're just reopening wounds.
Reopening those old wounds.
Yeah.
We've been healed for years. Now they're like, yeah, it's credible.
All right, Sam, you want to get up here?
Yeah, I'll go with my free agent signing. This man has the longest neck that ever got paid, and that's Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon.
So what is 32 million over 2 years?
A 3-year something deal
For a guy who played like 4 games in the NFL before that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is not very good.
Now that was a John Fox tenure, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then they drafted Mitch Trubisky to compete with Mike Glennon.
Yeah, he had a couple. Time. He did have a couple of really good games in Tampa, though, right? Before we signed him. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they were pretty much basing his contract off.
A bunch of crap. He was gone after a year, right? Then they cut him. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that was a dark time. The John Fox era, just in general, was pretty dark. Like we talk about Trestman being terrible, but John Fox was just And I'm sure we'll probably talk about him again in a little bit.
Yeah,
But
I mean, they
bad.
needed him to be there just to have somebody because they didn't even know what they were doing as a franchise at that point.
Yep.
They're like, let's just get a veteran coach in here and we'll figure it out later.
Roxy said his Bears tenure was shorter than his neck. That's true.
I mean, he is in the Finesse Hall of Fame, though.
Oh, for sure.
100%. I mean,
Got his bag.
there are a lot of backup NBA quarterbacks that are in the Finesse Hall of Fame, but Glennon is definitely first ballot
Oh, yeah.
Finesse Hall of Fame.
No doubt.
All right, is it me?
Yeah, you got two here.
All right, now I really tried, ladies and gentlemen. I tried very, very hard to not be all White Sox. And I thought it was all White Sox, and then I was told it wasn't. I was like, oh, that opens it up. But then thinking back on it, all my White Sox picks are just, for me, deep cuts. So I'm going to stay with my theme here. And for draft pick, I feel pretty confident. No, I might be the only one here, but I'm going to go with the 2009 first round draft pick of the Chicago White Sox, Jared Mitchell. Now, for those of you that don't know, Jared Mitchell was pretty highly touted outfielder out of LSU when the White Sox took him. They hyped it up pretty big. And not only did he never see, dog, I'm pissed off too. Not only did he never see a pitch in the show, and injuries came along and that, but the thing that hurts the most is who was taken just 2 picks. 2 picks after Jared Mitchell, ladies and gentlemen. It's a guy, he's pretty good. He's had a decent career. He goes by the name of Mike Trout.
Never heard of him.
He was taken 2 picks after Jared Mitchell that year. Mike Trout. Just sitting there. Just watching TV, seeing Jared Mitchell get picked before him.
Yep. Oh, boy.
And again, another thing that the White Sox could have done that could have just completely altered the course of White Sox history. And there would be a definite domino effect there. But that one really hurts. I think of it often. So that's why that needed to be.
They never would have given Trout the extension, though. Come on.
That's true. See, now we're doing that again. And then I'm going to go, and obviously, as I mentioned, I'm going to stay with the White Sox. And for my free agent signing, I'd like to take all of you back to the year 2015 when there was a hot first baseman in Washington that the White Sox just had to get for $12 million. His name,
$25 million.
$25 million. I'm sorry,
Yep.
$25 million. And he goes by the name of Adam LaRoche, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
And
he was touted as being the replacement for both Paul Konerko and Adam Dunn. So
he was supposed to carry that first baseman torch that is so appreciated in Chicago. When you look at, you got Paul Konerko, you got Jose Abreu, you got Frank Thomas. I mean, I actually, cards on the table here, I was going to take Adam Dunn. And then I started looking at stats.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how absolute ass, again, no offense to ass, how absolute ass Adam LaRoche was. Before the kid stuff and before all that other stuff. He was a 77 WRC plus, a negative 1.2 B-WAR. He did
634 OPS.
634 OPS. And then
so bad. That's Tim
he
Anderson
shows up,
bad.
And his little shit kid causes all this crap in the locker room. And who knows, that pisses off Chris Sale, who turns out to be a generational pitcher. He goes away. And then, oh my God. And we get Moncada and Kopech out of it. Don't get me started on those two. And yeah, I'm going to stop talking because I can do this for like 45 minutes. But yeah, Adam LaRoche.
Adam LaRoche is Spanish for Adam the Roche. Yeah, it wasn't just his bad play. It was like he and I don't think
locker room cancer.
Yeah, and I don't think he wasn't locker room cancer. I think he just he wanted what he wanted, and they gave in to him, and they never should have. They never should have said, "Yeah, bring your fucking kid on the road. What does he need school for?" You know, like.
And I don't want to get like too political.
That was
and stuff
Robin
like
Ventura.
That. But LaRoche, he's very strong political and religious views. We'll put it that way.
Yep.
And a lot of those views aren't very accepting of people from all walks of life. Yeah. And when you're playing a sport like baseball, where most of the people you're playing with are not from this country, that's going to start a little snowball effect in the locker room. And if you're wondering, I'm calling him a piece of shit. So, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with Adam LaRoche. It's another terrible free agent signing in a long list. I mean, I could have
defending him at all. Please.
I actually looked into what he was doing now, and apparently he has a camp that wounded combat veterans can come to, and they also are fighting against sexual trafficking. But if you look a little bit more into it, it's more of a compound.
Yeah,
in Montana.
Yeah.
It gets a little weird, but that's after the fact.
It's a militia. Let's just call it a fucking militia. That's what it is.
He's rehabbing veterans for another capital story.
Right.
But basically, the White Sox just signed this guy for the White Sox is a lot of money at the time to be just a lit grenade in that locker room. And then to top it off, he just sucked on the field. So it's a complete lose all across the board. And then
I remember hearing Jimmy Rollins talk about it, and Jimmy Rollins like walked in the locker room. He's like, "Nah, like this shit ain't fucking happening." Like,
no.
And Todd Frazier and those guys were like, "No, this shit ain't happening."
Well,
like, get the fuck
that's
out.
the other thing. Let's look at the people he pissed off. Chris Sale's a psychopath and a baby, and you brought that down where you pissed off Chris Sale. And then, I mean, Todd Frazier seems like a decent dude, whatever. But you pissed off Todd Frazier. You got a guy like Jimmy. It's just just all around, just terrible pick.
So remember, like Tim Anderson was in that locker room too.
Yeah,
like eventually, came in eventually, and that Jimmy Rollins, man, perfect. That's the best thing he did in his White Sox career. Got rid of that fucking Adam LaRoche and his Brad ass kid.
Yeah, it's just LaRoche's militia.
Again, I blame Robin Ventura for like 95% of that, because I don't think Robin Ventura had the balls to say like, hey, you can't fucking do this.
Exactly.
And I think the front office also told him before he signed, like, hey, yeah, sure, bring your kid around. That's fine. I honestly think that the system was created, not he created this. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, I get it. It was just an unbelievably horrible signing all around, especially from a team that's notorious for not spending money, and then to go out and give that guy money. And then he voluntarily quit from the White Sox and then took like $300K to play like 6 more games with the Nationals.
Look, my kid's not taking him to fucking work with me.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's it. That's
nothing wrong with that one.
Just a bad pick, bad guy.
That was number 3 on my list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the best part was that he just up and retired, so they didn't have to pay him that second year. He just up and retired when they told him he couldn't bring his kid around anymore.
Mm-hmm. It says it voluntarily resigned.
He tried to make himself a martyr, is what happened.
Yep, and then he took a shitty deal from the Nationals to play a handful of games, and he got $300K from it. Bought another acre on his compound. Called it a day. God, what a terrible free agent.
We don't have any anti-aircraft guns. Can Washington Nationals buy me an anti-aircraft gun?
I don't want to take up too much time, but real quick, my dad he completely just stopped watching baseball after the MLB strike because it cost the White Sox possibly a World Series and Frank Thomas an MVP. And my dad he refused to watch baseball. Finally, got my dad to agree for his birthday. I bought all the tickets, and I was not swimming in dough at the time, for my dad, my mom, my brother. We all went to the game as a family. It was like the first time that happened ever. We're all pumped to watch Chris Sale pitch. We're all sitting there like, when is this game going to start? When's this game going to start? And they're like, Chris Sale, scheduled to start tonight, had a locker room incident. It's the day he cut up the damn jerseys. So my dad did not go to another Sox game after that until this year, and I had to use my kid to give him come on, for your grandkid. And he's like, fine, I'll go. But yeah, just
that's phenomenal. Take your dad to the sale game.
Yeah, we were out there, and I remember the kid and his dad that were sitting behind us before they even announced that. We're talking about how they drove like 3 hours to get here, and the White Sox are the kid's favorite team. It was like a perfect storm of wow, this team just sucks. It was just, but yeah, Jimmy Rollins, that was a fantastic.
Our savior, Jimmy Rollins.
I've always liked Jimmy Rollins.
Yeah,
always, even as a player, but even more as a human because he did shit like that. But like, he was so good on the Phillies. But sorry, we're getting off track.
No, you're good. That's the whole show is getting off track. So.
Oh, I'm the guy.
Yeah, I try to herd my best, but it just doesn't work. But all right, Sam, what do you got?
I'm gonna go trade here. As much as I want to pick this one, I'm gonna pick Elton Brand to the Clippers.
Yep,
from the Bulls.
Got to get those double machines off your team as quick as possible.
That was for the second pick, right? For Tyson Chandler?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna pick Tadahito Iguchi to the Phillies, but I picked that one instead.
That trade broke my heart. I got excited, like, oh, the high school kid. They just drafted 2 Garnetts. Yeah. Tyson Chandler was good though. Tyson Chandler had a fine career. He was a good rebounder. He played great defense, but the
Bulls tried to play him as a small forward.
Yep. They did.
They put Eddie Curry at center, and he couldn't fucking rebound at all.
And Eddie Curry at center at 6'9", and Tyson Chandler at 7'1", playing small forward.
450 pounds. I saw Eddie Curry in the VIP lounge at Polecats, but that's another story. Yeah,
I think Eddie Curry was just told, "Hey, you're kind of good at basketball. Play basketball."
Yeah,
he carried himself with that type of air about himself. Like I'm tall and big, so I'm playing basketball, but this is not my thing.
Yeah.
No, I played against Eddie Curry in high school. He was a year older than me in this area, and he was just big.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't teach big, and he was big.
He was agile as hell too, but he just didn't know how to use his body, and he didn't give a fuck. You know.
But yeah,
he also had a $1,000 cable bill. If you ever look up that story, it's phenomenal.
All I ever think about when I hit Eddie Curry is it was way back in the day.
We were Kevin.
We were in Polecats, and I just looked up, and Eddie Curry was acting like he was a big shot.
My buddy Kevin is on fire tonight, man.
Oh boy.
Kevin wrote, "I'm still so mad about that trade. I want to yell at Thelma Krause."
Oh man.
Goddamn Thelma Krause. That's all. That joke was for you, Baloney.
And Baloney, yes, I will. I'll tell the whole story tomorrow night, 8 p.m. ish. Shameless plug. But yeah.
Shameless plug away, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Fucking Eddie Curry.
This is actually very accurate, unfortunately. Neither played defense, neither knew anything about any intangibles. They just go out there and do their thing.
I'm big. Let me play.
Right.
They're just big. So some dude on TikTok, I guess Sports Illustrated, I want to say like 3 years ago, they try to see in the future and pick like who the top 50 players would be in MLB in 2023. And they had Eloy as like 13. I mean, for a reference here, folks, Ohtani was like 24. But yeah, to see Eloy at 13,
they thought Eloy was going to be Manny Ramirez. That's what they thought.
He could still be.
He just needs to stay healthy.
He's 26 or something.
Keep him away from all the nets.
He's definitely one of those guys where he's 26, but he feels like he's been on the White Sox for 26 years.
Yep. He just feels like Diane Viciato.
Yeah.
Tank, baby. That was my guy. Tanks.
Look, he killed it when he went overseas, though.
Yeah, he killed in Japan. Yeah.
We got a tank. We got a tank out there.
Start learning Japanese, Aloy.
Oh, jeez. Could you imagine that goofball in Japan?
Be a legend in Japan.
Oh, my God.
Oh, Hello Kitty shit. Yeah.
I shouldn't say this too loud. Teresa's going to get mad if he's listening. Teresa's like, that's my guy.
He's going to hit 90 homers today.
Side swipes.
I think we all thought Yeah, I think we all thought Diane Vicieto was going to be like that guy, and
Yep.
We've had a
Yep.
handful of those.
Him and that kid that they drafted to play third base, Fields.
Josh Fields.
Not Josh Fields. I actually called the current Bears quarterback Josh Fields a couple times after they drafted him because I had that dude in my head. I thought that dude was going to be like cornerstone franchise player.
Roger Mason Jr. was really good, Yumper.
And then another Kenny Williams pick of a former football player who he wants to turn into a baseball player, Josh Fields.
Mm-hmm.
And because I thought somebody put up, you talked about Jared Mitchell, then we talked about Courtney Hawkins and all the rest of the players that had dual Joe Borchert, dual football and basketball and baseball things. So, God, Kenny sucks so badly sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like his 2005 makes up for a lot, but there's a lot of shit in there.
Mm-hmm. And 2005 was catching lightning in a bottle. I mean, I'm sorry, we're going.
No, it's good. Hey, I agree with you because if you look at that trade he made for Scott Podsednik and Luis Vizcaino, sending fucking Carlos Lee up there,
everybody thought he was nuts.
You look at the trade, like these kind of nuts. Carlos Lee had an awesome career and an awesome career in 2004. He was just a selfish player.
Baby.
He was just a selfish player that they didn't want on the team. Yeah, we won the World Series with Vizcaino and Podsednik, but if you look at that, they're trading a guy who hits like 700 for a guy who's 850 in his prime. Yeah. Like if that trade was done right now, people would be like, "What the fuck is going on?" That general manager needs to be fired immediately because the analytics world wasn't really a thing. Like, there was no Twitter necessarily at that time, so there wasn't really a thing going on. But yeah, if that trade was made today, it would shit on Kenny Williams every single fucking second.
I mean, at the end of
Carlos Lee's TW though.
It wasn't high enough. That's why he had to go. And if you look in 05, if you look at the WAR rankings by teams in 05, when the White Sox are 7th, like that wasn't like an all-time great team. And like the pitching performances that they had in that playoffs, there's a reason why it's one of the most immaculate performances you'll ever see, because you won't see that again with the complete games and all that. Yep. It's just, they caught lightning in a bottle. It was fantastic. Holly freaking Union, where's the Tylenol? It's just like, because that's it, folks. They were cheap and got lucky. I hate to say it, but that's what it is.
You're absolutely right. If the pitching hadn't gotten hot, they would have lost to the Angels probably,
without a doubt.
Yeah. All right, Herb.
All right, I'm not going to go over all this one because it's a trigger warning. Because the guy, just bringing the guy's name up is a trigger warning for some.
I'm already very triggered, so
for me it is. So I'll just say the stuff that happened in baseball. If you want to read up more about the guy after that, that's on you.
Yeah.
The Cubs signed this player after he had multiple. He was on 6 teams before he signed with the Cubs. He had his all-star year in Texas, his only all-star year, and the Cubs couldn't wait to sign the guy with a lot of anger issues and a name that matched his game, and it was Milton Bradley. He was just one of the most cantankerous people of all time. He got in a fight with Lou Piniella, his manager at the time, and he got in a fight with his general manager, I believe was Jim Hendry, just angry every single second. And if you look at his off the field things, that's where the trigger warning comes, because it's really, really fucking bad. He's a really terrible person, not just a terrible signing. He is one of the worst people that baseball has ever seen, because I just don't want to go into it, but yes, he is terrible. The Cubs fucked up by signing him to a 3-year deal, and then they had to trade him for, I think it was Carlos Silva, another big money person, but not a bad person necessarily. But so Milton Bradley is my guy, and just one of the fucking worst.
And also shout out to us, because we didn't talk about this pre-show, but free agent signings, we got one from every team. We got White Sox, Bears, Cubs, Bulls. I did not see that coming, but yeah.
Group high five.
Let's go.
Yep, group high five.
We did it.
I'm in.
We need Blackhawks one, right?
Proud of us.
We did. Yeah, I'm gonna have to text Jay for that one, because the Blackhawks, I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody.
I kept the Blackhawks stuff off my list, so I was gonna I was gonna just say Rocky Wirtz for front office, but I didn't think it would make sense.
I had a trade, a free agent, and a coach for that. But
How's bragging camp going?
Well, since we have trades already filled, Aloha Mr. Hand vehemently was very aggressive with me and telling me that somebody better pick the Dominic Hasek trade. Because the Hawks had him and traded him for like nothing, but
nothing.
Yeah. I think it was kind of like a Tatis trade. They didn't really know what they had at that time. So, but all right.
But for the worst Blackhawks signing, he was very quick to respond. Cristobal Huet. Yeah.
I was gonna say that's a good one. I had Brandon Manning on my list, and he was god awful.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, he was very bad. But Cristobal Huet.
Yeah.
There was always that was like very early in the internet memes days, and someone like put a beach ball going by him, and that picture is just it's funny. It's a beach ball, and he's supposed to stop it. But yeah,
well, draft pick is still there, Sam. So you can pick Connor Bedard like you mentioned in the pre-show.
Oh yeah,
worst draft pick ever.
Bust.
Mm-hmm.
Can't even keep his jaw right.
Can't even keep his mouth closed.
Jaw.
All right, I'm gonna get to close out my draft here. So we'll start draft pick. I am gonna go.
Hawks vision. Holy shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Kevin White. Chicago Bears.
That was my second free agent draft.
That was the one I was gonna
draft
go
pick.
with.
That was number 2 on the draft.
Kevin White. So Kevin White played 3 years in Chicago. Only 14. He was only healthy for 14 games. He had 397 yards receiving, and 0 touchdowns in 3 years. He was picked 7th overall.
But he had an almost touchdown against the Patriots in 2018.
Excuse me. Other offensive weapons in that draft include Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar, Tyler Lockett, and Stephon Diggs. So they could have had any one of those guys.
Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, Diggs was like a 3rd round pick though, so you can't really blame him on that one. But just for basis of comparison, he came in here. They thought he was going to be like our version of Reggie Wayne, and he was just trash. So
my biggest thing with Kevin White was they had to have known he was hurt, like something, because they came out like very quickly after the draft that he had like something wrong with his knee.
That knee was just never right.
No, like did they just not ask? Like, you good? Like, I don't know. Like, how do you?
They do a physical. They just didn't think that it was going to be that debilitating for long term.
Like, hey, just walk. Oh, you can walk, kind of. Yep. Cool, awesome. You're healthy. No X-rays at all.
1st round pick.
Wasn't he he was the 7th overall pick? I thought he was the 4th pick.
No, he was 7th. What's his name was the other? No, David Terrell was 8. Never mind.
Who was picked after Kevin White, if you know? Because I'm sure it was some great ass player.
Like directly after?
Oh, just in the same round.
Well, yeah, I had a list here: Gurley, Gordon, Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar, Tyler Lockett, and I think Diggs won the 3rd round. So yeah,
I would have had Aguilar over Kevin White.
Yeah, what the hell?
I'll take the drops
and all his mishaps.
Right.
Just brutal.
Tim, he had knees like a podcast full of 30-plus-year-old sports fans.
Our knees are our knees are taking some heat.
Yeah, man. Hey, I served this country. My knees are broken for a reason. How dare you?
Thank you for your service.
I protected Mount Rushmore. All right.
Kevin is killing tonight.
If you need help, you can go to Adam LaRoche's camp.
He can cure me.
It gets you running in no time.
All right. My final pick, I'm going to go coaching hire, front office. There's like 3 that I really want to pick, but I guess we'll talk about it in the dump list. I'm going to go Fred Hoiberg. It's kind of like Mark Trestman in that he came in with like a hotshot pedigree. They thought he was going to be like that next big coach, and he took over a team that I think they won 52 games the year before with Thibodeau. And he just laid a big egg, man. He had no idea what to do. Every game they would, even if they were up at halftime, they were always going to lose at the end because they never made any adjustments at halftime. It seemed like Hoiberg and Vinny Del Negro were like the same coach. They never really did anything. So I'm gonna go Fred Hoiberg.
But he's got that really good dancing gif.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, got that on it. That's all I know about Fred Hoiberg's tenure.
Yeah, I kind of just blocked him out. I didn't even have him on my list. I have some other bad bowl coaches, but I totally forgot about Hoiberg.
I mean, they hired 2 Iowa State coaches in this period. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like,
well, one of them was really good. Was really good at going fishing with Jerry Krause. So that's why.
Yeah, I mean, college basketball powerhouse Iowa State. How do you not get the coaches from them?
Drew, I have Tim
next to be picked.
Drew, I have Tim Floyd on my list, but Tim Floyd, it's not fair because those teams were fucking terrible. It wasn't his fault, really. Dickie Simpkins was their number one option for a while there. I mean, they were god awful. There wasn't anything that he could have done to make them win 30 games, let alone the playoffs.
He could have coached better. Simple as that.
I just defended my decision, Baloney, and I stick to it. Fred Hoiberg took over a team that had Jimmy Butler, Pau Gasol, Derrick Rose. I mean, Rose was hurt, kind of maybe in the head. But yeah, Hoiberg had some weapons, and he didn't know how to use them. And Herb's about to draft Tim Floyd.
No, that'd be awesome.
That would be funny. All right, Herb, what do you got?
I was looking for the guy's record. There's multiple ones I could pick from the White Sox. Could pick the current one, where it's hiring a guy who is the recipient of a bad team and a horrible process by his 2 predecessors. But that guy was part of the fucking up because he was the minor league guy. He was the head of minor league for like 6 years, and Chris Getz getting the job, but he hasn't really done anything. Let him suck for a couple of years and
let him cook. You mean?
Yeah. He's simmering right now.
Griffall groupies.
I could go with the one before that where they hired that fucking 70-plus-year-old guy, but I'm not going to go with that one. I'm going to go for one where it's probably going to be controversial. After the 2012 season, they gave the job of general manager to Rick Hahn. Now, Rick Hahn had earned his right to be there, but the structure that they set up for Rick Hahn, where Kenny Williams is his overseeing boss and can veto anything that he wants that Rick brings up to him. And then Jerry Reinsdorf, the most, I don't know, he's not cheap, but he doesn't really spend his money wisely over him. And so this dynamic produced really shitty results after many good trades by Rick Hahn.
Yeah.
Like, you got to applaud him for his trade to get Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez here, and Dane Dunning, who eventually turned into Lance Lynn.
Yeah.
Good trade. Trade for Yohan Moncada and trade for Michael Kopech with other players, Basabe, and send over Chris Sale. Good trade.
Mm-hmm.
The Jose Quintana trade, also great trade. Dylan Cease. And of course, we already talked about Eloy Jimenez, and of course, the 2 stars of that one, Brian Flette and Matt Rose. So good stuff he's done. But then he goes from all this prosperity after the 2016 rebuild, where he's getting all these good trades and getting all these good reports. 19 is decent. It's coming. 20, you finally see it. It's short season, but it's coming. And then I know that Jerry's at fault for it. He allows his owner to hire one of the worst hirings as a manager of all time, because he takes a fun team and he makes it fucking detestable. The same shit we're living in right now, I think, starts when Jerry Reinsdorf hires Tony La Russa, and Rick Hahn tries to get out, but he didn't try hard enough, because if I would have been usurped like that, my power as a general manager, when I seen something built from 16 to where I was then, I would have fucking left.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't have the integrity or the balls to just say, fuck it, I'm out. And so this whole thing we're going through right now, I'm blaming it on Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams and on Jerry Reinsdorf. So that is why I say that he and Kenny Williams and Jerry Reinsdorf are responsible for this shit that we're in right now. A team that was fun, and they turned it into a fucking laughing stock. Every time the White Sox are brought up right now, people laugh at us. As fans, as a team, they laugh at us because of this bullshit and that man, what he started. And so I don't want him to get off the hook, because after he got fired, there's a lot of fucking Rick Hahn bots out there trying to make him, his Teflon suit, still fit. Oh man, he was this. Oh man, he didn't get a job. He didn't get a fair shake. No, they're trying to make Rick Hahn too much of a martyr, or like
they want to make him look like he was fucking Ned Flanders, and
yeah,
he didn't want to make any waves, and he yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and so he's to blame too. I wanted to get him some blame on this. So fuck that man. I mean, not the man, the person who actually was the general manager, because he was terrible and worried way too much about what you guys and myself thought about his team. Checking Twitter every 5 seconds. Worry about your team on the field, Rick. Don't worry about the fans.
Worry about the parade, Rick.
I'm still waiting.
That was the longest I've ever stayed quiet with a microphone in front of me. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was really, I mean, nail on the head, dude. That was awesome.
Damn, it's like Herb knows what he's talking about sometimes. Shit.
Well, I think it's interesting, all the Kenny Williams stuff that started to come out afterwards too. Like they weren't compatible, and it makes you wonder what would have happened with the White Sox if Jerry had let Kenny go to Toronto all those years ago.
It should have happened. Like, just let Rick do his job and let him fail by himself. Because I think, left to his own devices, maybe he would have done well, because we've seen a couple of good trades. But I'm sure these transactions would have been filled up with some of his bad moves. I mean, we saw one earlier. We were just talking about giving all that money to Adam LaRoche. So he's part of it. He's one of the people that are responsible for this malaise we're going through right now.
You did this to me. Yeah.
And now he just enjoy his time, chill out, jump in his fucking Scrooge McDuck bank, enjoy some money and some time off.
He'll get it. Another team will fucking hire him just because they're stupid.
Just bump that Fleetwood Mac and just. Oh no, he wasn't Fleetwood Mac. That's Pedro's Fleetwood Mac.
That's not Pedro. I was gonna say sit on the back of your truck and drink ocean spray with your camera.
No, Han was that was the when he's like, I like really 90s hip hop, and he's saying they're like, oh really, and he goes, yeah, Snoop, and I'll put some Dre on.
Like, Snoop Diggity Dog is my favorite.
Had that vision in my head of Rick Hahn listening to early 90s hip hop, and it makes me smile a little bit.
So, Steve, I want to point out that Leary Garcia is actually part of the Atlanta Braves organization,
and he's going
and still getting like $5.5 million from the White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna get a ring next year.
Yeah, he might. All right, Sam, you got your draft pick left, buddy.
All right, so Kevin White was gonna be my pick, but nope. So I'll go a different bear here. This man was drafted 12th overall in the 1999 NFL Draft. Played 2 seasons with a wonderful quarterback rating of 66. The savior, Cade McNown.
You mean the future Steve Young?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they thought he was. Just because he was left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he was left-handed. He wasn't fast like Steve Young. He was left-handed, so he was going to be Steve Young.
Cade McNown is he was going to be the quarterback to ascend the Bears into the next, 15 years of success.
Should have moved up and got Donovan. We should have moved up and got Donovan McNabb, right?
He's not even from Chicago.
Nope.
No, they bust his ass in from Indiana. Cheating ass Mount Carmel. I'm just looking. I don't know what's Cayman Down doing now.
I think he's like an insurance guy or something.
Probably something like that.
Or maybe
He
he wrote a
played
For
self-help book.
UBS and Private Wealth Group before joining JP Morgan Chase Bank. No capital management. Yeah, he's a money guy.
To be fair, he was better. He was better than Rick Meyer.
That's
The lowest of ours.
Yeah, that's not hard, but yeah.
Why should we draft you? I was better than Rick Meyer.
Sold.
Yeah.
The same
right.
person who drafted Cade McNown, the same person who traded for Rick Meyer. I hope not.
I don't know.
I don't
No.
know. Yeah, I'd have to look that up. I don't think so.
No.
I mean,
All right.
it shouldn't be because once you make the Rick Meyer
Oh, you know
mistake-
what? It was actually. It was
Was it
99.
really?
He was drafted.
Yeah,
Oh,
McNown
Yeah, that
was
was
99.
Mark Hatley. Yep.
for both
Mark
of
Hatley
those?
traded for Meyer in 97,
Oh boy.
and then he drafted Cade McNown.
Look what you
Rest in
did, you
peace,
little
Mark
jerk.
Hatley's on my list actually for worst front office. As general manager, they had a 297 winning percentage. They went 19 and 45 in those 4 seasons he was in charge.
Good Lord. And these guys get paid so much money.
Yep.
God, we're going through it. God damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they replaced him with Jerry Angelo, who was actually very good for a long time. So
Like, I wonder how people who didn't watch the Super Bowl 20, are Bears fans still, because, man, I saw Super Bowl 20 when I was like 7, and I was like, this is pretty great. This is one of the best things of all time.
yep.
And to not see that and then live your whole Bears life from there on, it's just one of the worst. Man, it's so terrible. And seeing the damn Green Bay Packers do what the fuck they do and get another goddamn quarterback. See, it's just like,
Yep.
ugh.
It's not fair.
God,
It's
I hate
just
the
not
fucking
fair.
Bears. I don't
Sandy
know why I'm a
Goodman?
fan. That fucking Super Bowl shuffle got me in for life, and I'm done. I've been trying to leave forever, but they fucking keep on sucking me in.
Yeah, Herb, my mom loves showing it. There's a video of me in one of those jumpy things dancing to the Super Bowl shuffle because I was a wee lad, and I've never seen it, man. I've seen him lose to Peyton Manning, rip my heart out, but I should have known better when Rex Grossman is your Super Bowl starting quarterback, but it is what it is. Sam had a power surge. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
looks like
that.
it.
Just because his superpowers. Well, gentlemen, I started this draft off with chalk, and I'm going to end this draft with chalk. Not in a million years did I think this guy was going to be available, but I'm just going to take it to the catalyst of everything that I hate in this world, because we're going to take it back to 1981 when a man named Jerry Reinsdorf paid $19 million for the Chicago White Sox.
So just a purchase of the team.
Yeah, because you said front office, so
Yeah.
I mean technically owner's front office, but Jerry Reinsdorf, and I guess that covers Bulls too, because he bought the Bulls in '85. Jerry Reinsdorf I'm trying to be somewhat collected. He's won one championship in Chicago, in my mind. Now I know people will be like, oh, what about the Bulls dynasties? He bought the team after they drafted Jordan. He moonwalked into a dynasty and took credit for it. His constant penny pitching, horrible moves, favors, nepotism has crushed my fandom. Crushed it. It's like the Simpsons episode when she rips his heart out and throws it against the wall, and it like leaks into the garbage can year after year after year after year. And all of it can be traced back to one man. One man, two teams, just complete nuclear on the fandom. Stoop Kid, I loved your song about him. And it just, he's not the reason for those 6 rings. He moonwalked into Michael. He bought the team after they drafted Michael Jordan.
Baloney. That's actually true what you said there.
Oh, I know. He is the reason, but he bought a team with a young Michael Jordan. Now, Did he make the draft day trade for Scottie Pippen? He at least okayed it, so that was a pretty good move. He got a Phil Jackson in here. That was a pretty good move.
Those are Jerry moves.
Yeah, those are Jerry
Yep.
moves. That's
Yep.
true. Fuckers boot him.
Baloney wants to watch The Last Dance over and over again and believe everything that Michael Jordan says. Forgetting that Michael Jordan's a sociopath.
But yeah, I mean,
Not a bad pick, buddy.
I could probably do
way
another
good
2
way to
hours
close it out.
on Jerry Reinsdorf, but $19 million, man. For $19 million, he just crushes my soul year after year.
Rachel Phelps is a better owner. That's a good one.
So,
all right. Well, that's
Awesome.
a good one.
So
Yeah.
I mean, there's no one worse as a fucking owner. When, like, I don't know anybody who's ruined their reputation more than him as far as an owner. He used to be, after those 6 championships,
right,
not revered, but people respected him.
Yeah,
Now
people thought he
that-
was a nice guy, and now they just think he's a big piece of shit.
Yeah, like now his legacy when he leaves is pretty much going to be he was a guy that could have did more and pretty bad owner. That's what I'm going to remember him as, especially the White Sox owner. Like they've been to the playoffs probably like 7 times in his 40 years of ownership.
Just brutal, man.
And
I never had a shot.
Snuck into
He
it.
bought the team before I was even born. I never have been alive for a non-Jerry Reinsdorf owned White Sox team.
Well, Reinsdorf purchasing the Bulls happened because didn't it deal with wasn't George Steinbrenner, or was he part owner at the time? I know Steinbrenner had something to do with the Bulls ownership.
I think he was a part owner. Of
Was
the
he
Bulls.
part? Okay, and they
Yeah.
sold it to Reinsdorf's group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the white flag
Just remember
trade.
that.
Oh baby, you could probably do another hour just on Jerry Reinsdorf right now. But yeah,
White flag
Yep.
trade.
That's what he wants us to do.
that's what he wants us to.
He wants us to talk about him.
I'm not a baby. I will be 40 years old in a month.
You're a baby.
I guess so. I'll
I'm
take
just
it.
kidding.
Yeah, you giant baby.
I
Giant
still wear
baby.
diapers.
Oops, I crap my pants holds a lot of dung.
There is there is a lot for your miss the cut list. I think I have
Yeah.
a lot. I know I have a feeling you guys have a lot too.
I
Yep.
got a lie. Yeah.
Well, let's just go through them. Let's start with free agent signings.
Well, Chris
So-
Balhue is a good one.
Yep.
That's a really good one.
I'll
He's a
just
man.
run-
He's 40.
I'll just run down mine real quick. I had Mike
Sure.
Clevenger, Yonder Alonso,
Yep.
Tomas Sadaransky, and
Ooh.
Brandon Manning from the Hawks.
Fucking
Okay.
Yonder Alonso.
Hey, he almost got us Machado, man.
So did John Jay.
I did have Carlos Boozer. He was he was decent as a player. It's just, again, it's a pick more for the situation. You know, that was the summer of South Beach and all
Yeah.
that other shit.
He was
So then
he was the consolation. That's
to land on Carlos Boozer and his spray on hair was
Hawk
It was a
signing
tough
some Russian.
R.I.P. Carlos Boozer's house that Prince rented out.
Dude, that story
One of the
cracks me up, man.
Best stories of all time.
Yes. Prince is nuts. Kind of like Carlos Boozer signing when the Bulls signed Ron Mercer. Now Ron Mercer wasn't a bad player. He wasn't a great player, but he's solid NBA
Mhm.
wing. They signed him and treated him like he was going to be, just as good as the other guys that were free agents that summer, like Tim Duncan, Grant Hill, Tracy McGrady, Benny the Bull meeting them at the airport, and then they signed Ron Mercer. And then the next year, they said, "Oh, the Ron Mercer thing kind of worked out. Let's go ahead and get another wing," and they signed Eddie Robinson. And Eddie Robinson was the worst player in the history of Chicago Bulls. I don't care what anybody says. That guy was just the fucking pits. He added
yeah.
absolutely nothing to that franchise. All he did was bitch and moan all the time, made a shitload of money, and then left town. So
Paul Zipser vindicated. Let's go, Paul Zipser.
I also had Ben Wallace on my list because Ben Wallace
Whoa.
severely regressed
Hey,
when
he
reached
was
the Bulls.
fun though.
He was on
I
one
love Ben
good
Wallace.
Bulls team, but
He was-
I think they were good in spite of him.
It was bad fun.
Yeah, because it was a $60 million deal, and I think he had double-digit rebounds like once in all those years.
I know. I just love Ben Wallace.
I know, so did I.
Jamie Navarro was a terrible signing for the White Sox.
100%. So terrible.
He went 25 and 43 with an ERA over 6. Now, the silver lining on that one is we actually traded him to the Brewers, and we ended up getting Jose Valentin for him. So, Jose was a good piece for a while. And then I have 2 Cubs signings, actually. I got Alfonso Soriano, who wasn't terrible here, but he signed for $97 million, and he had an 8 B-WAR in 7 seasons. It's pretty terrible. And then Todd Hundley as well. Todd Hundley was awful.
He was very bad. I had a fun one for trade when they traded in the 3-team trade for John Starks.
That was the one where they traded Kukoc, right?
They traded. It was a 3-team trade traded by Golden State Warriors with a 2000 first-round pick, which turned into Chris Mim, to the Bulls. The Bulls traded Tony Kukoc to the 76ers. The 76ers traded Bruce Bowen to the Bulls. And the Philadelphia 76ers traded Larry Hughes and Billy Owens to the Golden State Warriors.
And then we got Starks.
Yep.
So they traded my favorite player, and they got my most hated player in the same trade.
Yeah, that's one of the things where, again, it's just more of a it's John Starks, fuck him. And
right.
To see him in a Bulls uniform was
I just didn't want Kukoc to go away, period. It was a good move at the time because he really was kind of on his way down, but and then Chris Mim ended up getting traded for Jamal Crawford.
Yep. Which I love Jamal Crawford. So
he was so much fun on the Bulls.
Yep.
Curtis Enos was another one.
Curtis Penis
for draft pick.
Yes.
Yeah, I had him pretty high on mine as well.
A lot of the ones that I had, I mean, we talked about it pre-show, but the old heads, I got to say, trading Lou Brock. Yep. We'll put it out there. Blackhawks trading Phil Esposito to Boston. That's a good one. I don't know if I would count this one. This was just on my list because I was going to do it to cause debate, but Jimmy Butler for Levine and marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy's good.
That trade didn't work out for anybody though, because Butler won he whined his ass out of Minnesota too. So trade one that I didn't remember really until today was the Cubs traded Dennis Eckersley to Oakland for 3 minor leaguers that never played in Major League Baseball. So Eckersley went on to have over 300 saves, win an MVP and a Cy Young in Oakland. So,
and I mean, as I mentioned earlier briefly, we could have talked about the white flag deal.
Yep.
From the White Sox.
In retrospect, that wasn't a bad trade though.
It wasn't terrible if you look back at it. That's why I didn't make my list. And then
that is being planned, Steve. So
for a personal reason for front office or coaching, I was going to say Robin Ventura. It's mainly because he wasn't a good manager, but it was also pisses me off because I love him as a player.
Yeah.
And he's a good dude, but then he's got like a stain on his name now in Chicago because he was. He didn't
even want to manage here. They had to beg him to come.
Right.
Well, you have to beg the guy to come. Like he's not going to be. You want a guy that's going to be motivating people. You don't want a guy that's like, I guess I'll do it. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's just absolutely brutal.
Here I am, and once in my life, I want someone to beg me to come. Jesus.
Nicely done.
Ass. That's what we do.
Ass. That's what we do.
Terry Bevington was on my list.
I had Jose Penny. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He had a winning record for the White Sox, but he took over some really good teams. He should have done a lot better than he did.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, Herb. Go ahead.
No, I had just one. It was Jose Paniagua, worst free agent signing, even though it was like a in-season free agent signing. I don't know if you guys remember Jose Paniagua.
I remember.
I can't say I do off the top of my head.
I remember the name. I don't remember how bad he was.
He entered the game in the 9th inning with a 6-run lead and proceeded to give up a double to Lou Ford, a triple to
Lou
Vinny
Ford. I
Hockey.
haven't heard that name in forever.
Vinny
Ford. I
Hockey.
haven't heard that name in forever.
Justin Morneau came in the game, hit a single. Then he got one out. He got Matt LaCroix out, and then Corey Koski walked. When he left the game, Jose Paniagua, he flipped off the umpire. He was released the next day by Kenny Williams. His ERA is 108.00. You got one person out, and I think 4 runs scored against him.
He's 108ing,
108, baby.
He is. He is terrible. And his name means like Joe Bread and Water. That's what we call him.
To answer Tim's question in the comments, was Amane traded or did they just let him walk? He signed with a free agent with the Coyotes in 2002. I know Tony Amante is actually the first professional athlete that I actually waited in line to get his autograph. My cousin Jay took me. We went to Chicago Ridge Mall. We waited in line outside of the Sears, and I got a Blackhawks jersey signed by Tony Amante.
Outside of the Sears?
Outside of the Sears, people were talking about the Nintendo 64 that was about to come out.
It's a very old-fashioned sentence right there.
You're telling that story like my story about meeting King Kong Bundy at Electric Avenue in 1987.
Yeah, but I still have that Tony Monty jersey. I don't know if you could read the signature anymore, but I still have it. Sentimental
That's really
value.
cool.
Jesus, Electric Avenue, Brian.
Yep.
Deep, right, man? All right, I had a couple more trades. The Bears traded Trace Armstrong to Miami because they thought he was washed up, and he had like 60 sacks in Miami in a few years. So, one trade that I really kind of want to take a minute to talk about when Hawk Harrelson traded Bobby Bonilla for Jose De Leon. Now, let's frame this real quick. 1980 was 86. Say they don't trade Bobby Bonilla and they keep him. Say they never trade Sammy Sosa in 92. You have Tim Raines, Frank Thomas, Robin Ventura, Bobby Bonilla, Sammy Sosa. Good Lord. That would have been insane.
The team would have been very, very good in RBI baseball. That would have been a very good team.
Mike Scott would have struck him out. And then a couple draft picks. Jay Williams.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the Lonzo Ball thing, but Jay Williams also was
Yeah.
not very good as a rookie.
And he caused his own accident too.
Right. Yeah, that was his own doing.
Fuck Jay Williams. Fuck Duke.
Okay.
I'm with you there. No, I'm a big Tar Heel guy, so yes, it's forever fuck Duke.
On my cheat sheet, I took for the draft pick ones. I have like notes of all the players that were drafted after that player. So I have Eddie Curry on my list, and they could have had Jason Richardson, Battier, Joe Johnson, Richard Jefferson, Zach Randolph, Tony Parker, Jay Williams.
Zach
they could have had.
Oh man,
Zach
Randolph would have been loved in Chicago.
He would have been.
And Zach
legend.
Randolph was exactly what they thought Eddie Curry was going to be, like a guy that could score at will and was a good rebounder.
Bully ball.
But Marcus Pfizer, Brad
Randolph
Sellers,
hero.
When the
Did you
Bulls
hear that
drafted
latest story? Sorry about that, Zoe. Did you hear the latest story about about Zebo and him time up with Portland? It was Rasheed Wallace told a story about him, and I think it was Ruben Patterson getting into a fight. And it's just great. I mean, you got to go and watch it. Rasheed Wallace, it's on one of the podcasts out there. You will love it because if you're a big-time Zebo fan, that story will make you smile.
I think I saw a clip from that interview where he was talking about how they thought the NBA was fixed. But I'll go and watch the whole interview because Sheed's my guy, North Carolina.
Gordo, don't remind me of that, okay? Ever.
Seen a lot of Nick Swisher slander in the comments, and let me tell you, folks, I'm here for it. That guy sucks so bad.
Terrible.
We love that guy. Come on.
No, he sucked.
Tommy Bahama. God, I hated that.
Another guy I met in person. Guy sucks. Guy sucks.
Guy sucks.
Sorry, but guy sucks.
Guy sucks. I was so mad in that. What documentary was I just watching? Oh, Yogi Berra, the Yogi Berra documentary. They're like interviewing all these awesome people talking about Yogi Berra, and then all of a sudden it's like Nick Swisher. I was like, I'm turning this shit off.
I'm turning it
This
off.
is why the fuck would Nick Swisher? I was so mad. So mad.
Yeah, I think he got married to the lady from Reba, one of the daughters. And I liked that show before that. And when I heard his name and which she got married, they got married, and I saw him on How I Met Your Mother. I was like, I hate How I Met Your Mother now, and I was a big fan. He ruined How I Met Your Mother. It was so terrible.
Joanna Garcia Swisher. That's her name.
Yeah. Oh God. And he went on to like
know
have
that
a
was
decent career after that one terrible year with the White Sox.
Well, and they made him play center field, which I always thought was kind of weird. But yeah, he was a bad clubhouse guy. He was even a bad clubhouse guy in New York. They didn't like him there either. And you're in a fucking clubhouse with A-Rod, and you're the problem. Come on. That always kind of cracked me up.
Sucks.
But yeah, for sure.
I mean, he is the definition of the guy just sucks. He just sucks.
One trade that I just remembered, like just thinking over this, the Jeff Samardzija trade.
Yeah,
because we traded Marcus Semien and Chris Bassett in that deal.
Yeah, that one's there. A couple I had. Oh, sorry. So, Bears moving down one spot in the 2017 draft, giving away all that stupid capital for Mitch Trubisky. Kimbrel from the Cubs to the Sox. Nick Jalmerson to the Coyotes. I was on the radio after that happened, yelling my head off on the score.
That actually, my mom got very upset. My mom was a big Nick Jalmerson gal. She was, she's second generation from Sweden, so she was a big fan.
Yeah. I mentioned it before. Tadahito Iguchi to the Phillies. Hated that trade when it happened. Last year, Chase Claypool from Pittsburgh, and then Scottie Pippen to Houston.
That one wasn't going to happen, but they wanted Pippen to walk away with as much money as humanly possible. So that was the only reason that trade even happened.
Yep.
You would have thought they would have gotten at least something of value in that deal.
Right.
They got nothing.
They got nothing.
Absolutely nothing. They just did it as a favor to Scottie Pippen because he worked for him on. I mean, you guys know the story about Scottie Pippen's contract, which they told him not to sign, and he signed it anyway.
Run for Rafi Mara.
Oh, you didn't see that one? Yeah.
No, I just saw it.
Oh, my God. I did not see that. That's amazing. That might be the comment of the night. That's fantastic.
We should boo Jerry Krause for getting Scottie Pippen's money. We really should.
Boo.
Boo.
Boo Scottie Pippen for his booty ass bourbon that he has out there. The one with the weird hand on the bottle. It's so bad. Someone got me as a gag gift and I drank it and it's just bad. It's really bad.
Oh, by the way, I mentioned the Trace Armstrong trade, and they got a second round pick in that trade. You know who they took in the second round with that pick?
John Stamos.
Todd Sauerbrunn.
Hell yeah.
Why would you take a punter in the second fucking round?
Because he's a Hall of Famer.
Get the fuck out of here.
There was one more, and one more Bears draft pick. And I can't think who was the DN is kind of recent from Boise State.
Shane McClellan?
Yeah,
McClellan,
there you go. Shane McClellan. That was
the next Urlacher, you mean?
Yeah, but his one highlight with the Bears was hurting Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude drank free for a while.
Yeah.
I had some draft picks. I hated Wendell Carter Jr. when they drafted him. Gabe Karimi for the Bears, offensive lineman. Another offensive lineman, Chris Williams. And then Nick Madrigal.
I'm surprised there was no Madrigal because you could put him either in trade or in draft pick because the Kimbrel trade sucked too.
Same thing with Trubisky. You could take the trade that they got the pick for him, or they end up trading against themselves, or the pick itself.
Very, very skilled athletes can make two different slots in this draft.
You have to be a special kind of shit to to accomplish that. You know.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I agree with Yumper. That Kimbrel trade was a wash at that point.
Yeah, but
Fucking get magical. God damn.
I'm talking about Kimbrel really sucking shit as soon as he got to the White Sox.
The only thing I really remember from the Kimbrel, Thomas Jones to the Jets was a terrible trade.
That's
and
a good call.
Urlacher said that was like the worst move. That was like
they
the
hated
downfall.
that.
Well, they thought Cedric Benson was better than he was.
Then you could put Benson as a draft pick too.
Yep.
My
He's another double guy.
Double agent.
My favorite Kimbrel moment on the White Sox was the last playoff game that year. He couldn't get the ball over the plate, and Josh Nelson just lost his freaking mind in the stands. Throw fucking strikes! He's just screaming. He sits there like quiet and reserved all the time, and then when he gets up and starts screaming,
just gets to that point.
Yeah, he just boiled over at that point.
Well, all he had to do was listen to Josh, and it would have been a lot better.
Right?
We just threw strikes. What a jerk for not even thinking about that.
Ethan Katz in the dugout, like, shh, I'm coaching him. Throw balls.
You got to mention for coach hire John Fox. He was just.
See, I didn't have like
paycheck.
that era was just nothing, so I didn't care.
He was more just
he was worse
Yeah.
than he's pretty much worse than Eberflus has
Right.
been, I think. But
I was gonna go offensive coordinator and put in John Stoop.
Oh,
Mike Martz.
yeah.
John Stoop. That's where
hated Greg Olson.
those goddamn free wide receiver screens, man. That's when it all started.
And never left.
You're a big fan of Kip Wells, Yumper?
It's a great baseball name.
Yeah, I had Phil Emery on there, Vinny Del Negro, Jim Boylan,
Vinny, I forgot about Vinny Del Negro.
Robin
God
Ventura, Tim Floyd, Garpax, and Jeremy Colleton.
Do you guys know the Vinny Del Negro story about John Paxson beating the shit out of him?
No, but that sounds funny.
That sounds awesome.
It's never been confirmed, but the only reason Vinny Del Negro got another coaching job so quick is because the Bulls had to find him one because John Paxson like punched him in the face. It's always been kind of like a hidden story, but I've heard it from like a few people over the years. Was it choking, Yumper? Yeah, Paxson was crazy. Paxson threatened to kick Eddie Robinson's ass because Eddie's like, my leg hurts. I don't want to play tonight. And he was like, you're going to fucking play or I'm going to break your leg.
That makes sense. Play injured or I'm going to injure you.
Yeah, Kevin, what's Vinny Del Negro in Spanish?
Yeah, I mean, you missed.
Yeah, we did trade Greg Olson for a second round or third round draft pick. That was a
because Mike
terrible
Martz hated him.
Yeah.
Yep. Mike
Couldn't
Martz didn't
stand
think
him.
he fit in the offense.
The guy's going to be in the Hall of Fame probably.
Yep.
Not as a
Not as a
commentator,
broadcaster.
though. No.
No.
Who's
But that
worse,
trade
him
was
or
brutal.
am I crazy or does Tony Romo get worse every fucking
He's
year?
terrible.
Oh, yeah, he's gone.
Romo just,
way
Romo
down.
just doesn't care anymore. He just
Okay.
doesn't care anymore.
Vinny-
He's got his Corona
Vinny
money.
is the black.
Good save, Kevin.
Thank you, Kevin.
No, he's trying to be on the PGA tour. He's got his Corona money. He's fine, dude. Tony he's mailing it in. And Tom
And he's going to be doing the Super
Brady
Bowl
starts
this year.
next.
Yeah.
And then Tom Brady starts next year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he'll be. I think he'll like.
I think
it'll
he's
be a
gonna
weird
terrible.
year, but
I think he'll be like
they're like shit. We gave him
What's
a
the-
10-year deal.
God, why can't I'm the older I get, the worse I am with names. What's the churchy dude from Florida?
Jay
Oh,
Field.
churchy Florida guy.
Um,
Florida McChurchy.
the guy who was the quarterback for the Broncos. He was terrible.
Tebow.
Yeah, Tim Tebow. Thank you.
There
I
we
couldn't
go.
remember.
Yeah,
I was
Florida
like, that could be
McChurchy.
anybody.
I mean,
Florida
that's,
McChurchy. Yeah.
that's his name going forward.
Yeah,
Oh,
Florida
I feel
McChurchy.
like Brady's gonna be like him. Like he's gonna be too like bubbly.
One
'cause if you
one
ever
thing though
listened-
that I'm seeing a lot with Tom Brady now is they're interviewing and he keeps doing the whole back in my day shit.
Yeah,
That's not going to fly really well because
No.
no one cares.
he's gonna
And
be
that
with
was 2
Fox,
years.
right?
It was a year ago.
Yeah,
His day.
yeah.
DeSantis.
Yeah,
As
there was
Stefan Loaiza
so many candidates
trade-
when you said
Florida McChurchy fuck is Ron DeSantis. Thank you, Kevin.
That is a good trade. Esteban Loaiza trading kilos for his freedom. That
yeah.
could have made the trades. It's still wild. I would have never put him as a kingpin. I guess you never really know a guy.
And then his ex-wife like died in a plane crash. Jenny
Did not know
Rivera.
that.
Yeah,
Did
she's
not
like a
know that.
Tejano singer. She died in a plane crash after he went to the joint.
Damn.
It wasn't an accident.
Or either one. I think it was around where he went to the joint, but she was a very popular singer. Not of Selena's time, but she was good.
She probably knew some tangs, and them tangs
did.
made them play go down.
She knew too
Mhm.
much.
Stefano Weiser was filthy in triple play baseball.
He was so good.
He had that one year,
So
man.
good.
Wow.
Fuck, now I want to play triple play baseball.
04?
Yeah, MVP
Yeah.
baseball 4-2 was good.
Hashtag
yeah.
Jenny
03.
Rivera's plane didn't crash.
I will say real
Oh
quick,
man, the
the
chat
comment
has
section,
been fucking fire tonight, man. This
the
has
chat
been,
has not
been great.
disappointed.
at one point this has been probably the most viewed live show I've done, actually, because at one point
You're
That's
welcome.
all, that's all
It's all-
Sam.
it is all and having Herb and Zoe and Sam on doesn't, that definitely helps. But yeah, simulcasting between X and YouTube, at one point I had like 70 viewers. And I don't think I've ever gotten that
Fools.
high during a show. So
Fools.
nice.
My
It's
haters
all you
watch
guys.
a lot, man.
Jokes on
I
them.
just guide. I'm not here for anything.
I get the hater viewership spikes numbers.
There you go. All right, let's wrap this up. Zoe, you guys got Pinwheel and Ivy tomorrow?
Yeah, unfortunately. Pinwheels and Ivy, 8 p.m. Central-ish. If you super chat enough, I will tell the full Eddie Curry at Polecat story.
I'm gonna watch tomorrow just for that story.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Sam.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll have Ask Gas Thursday night, 7 p.m. on YouTube. Best show you'll ever watch every week. Not to brag or anything. Next Tuesday we'll have another talking out our ass episode as well. Guess to be determined still at this point. So
Sweet. Herb, CHGO, you guys have any events coming up or anything, or just
No, just
keep it on?
terrible White Sox talk the whole day.
Yep.
I'm kidding.
I watched you guys today.
We're
It's-
making some, we're trying to make things up now because there's nothing going on, and I want to.
Yeah, you guys were talking about
anymore.
you guys were talking about Luis Robert hitting 500 homers.
Yeah. So we're making things up. I think tomorrow is which will be higher Wednesday, whichever. I don't know what the alliteration is. I made it up and I forgot already. But yeah, 3:30. We're on
Sweet.
every day.
Herb, just do what I do and break news that's already happened. Like months ago.
Oh yeah, Super Kid. I forgot the line I play at Northwestern. Ah, God, yesterday was so disappointing. I might not go, but I promised you I was going to go, and it's my dog's birthday, so that's the other thing. I can't go because my dog's birthday's on the 24th, and I do not want to be in attendance when the Illini lose to Northwestern. It'll break me after all this bad football and basketball and
Yeah, I'm going to need
baseball.
to take a shower to watch this podcast out.
That's
I'm gonna go
exactly why
cry.
we did this, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go cry in the shower for a little bit.
Excellent. Well, thank you three for being on. It's always a pleasure to have you guys on. Anytime you want to come back, please. Herb, I think we're gonna do the baseball one again. Maybe have you and Josh again if time permits before
I'm always in.
Sweet. I'm doing another one. I'll tell you about it in private because I don't want to announce it on the show. It's pretty. It's very similar to that one, but it's there's more to it. But
Drafty Pod After Dark.
there you go.
Ooh.
We'll be back in 2 weeks. I might do a small episode next week. I'm not sure. I'm working kind of through the details. I'll give you guys an update on the Twitter sites. 2 weeks we're going to be doing. I'm going to have a series of recasting movies with various actors. We're going to do that kind of draft. In 2 weeks we're recasting Star Wars using nothing but Saturday Night Live actors. So it's been one that's been popping in my head for a while. I'm going to have Baloney on, as well as Baloney from the Sports Bums, as well as Chirizi from the 108. So
That'll be good.
so that's going to be a fun one. And then we're going to be doing a special baseball one in a few weeks. I'm still working out dates and everything, but I'll keep you guys updated. Obviously, if the White Sox ever do anything, I'm going to dust off pop-up socks at some point. I haven't done it in probably about a year now, but once they sign Cody Bellinger and Blake Snell, obviously,
And Jordan Montgomery.
and Jordan Montgomery. I'll be on for that. So again, thank you guys. Thank everybody in the chat. You guys were on fire tonight. You guys make this show even better. I'm having the time of my life doing this, and it's you guys that are helping me get through that. So again, this has been episode 35. Thank you very much. Have a great evening.